ahead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our wonderful and talented Ag Director Bridgette Readel. Justin, again, has the day off. We're giving him a little rest. He's been acting a little goofy lately because he hasn't had much sleep, and that happens when you have a 4-month-old at home. So hopefully he's getting some much-needed rest and relaxation today. Bridgette, you still in Indiana?
I am.
All
you won't
right.
see me back home until Friday.
Well, at least you'll be able to make it home by then. It's a good thing you're not coming back tomorrow.
Okay, how come we went from a winter storm warning to a blizzard warning? I woke up to that message on my phone today.
Yeah. So, well, what we've got is a lot of wind. We're not looking at, I think a lot of people think when blizzard warnings are issued, we're going to get a boatload of snow, and that's not the case. We're looking at enough snow to pose a lot of problems. We're going to have wind gusts over 50 miles an hour here. This is probably going to be one of the windiest storms we've had this year so far. With winds, some spots 55, approaching maybe 60 miles an hour. And you put a few inches of snow on the ground, that is going to lead to just near zero visibility and just an absolute mess around here as we head into tomorrow morning. So, yeah, when the models are giving us a little bit more snow than originally thought, and again, it doesn't seem like a big difference from 1 inch to 3 inches or 1 inch to 4 inches in the grand scheme of things. But when you put in 50-mile-an-hour winds with that makes a huge difference. So, yeah, tomorrow's going to be a mess. So we're telling everybody, if you have Valentine's Day plans for tonight with your sweetheart, make sure you make it an early one. After about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock tonight, things are really going to start going downhill pretty quickly. So
And
be
are
lucky you're in Indiana.
dropping a whole lot? I'm happy I'm in Indiana, but are temperatures falling a whole lot as well to go along with all this?
Yeah, so we're probably going to start out. In fact, areas in Lakes Country right now already seeing rain out of this, some light rain. And I think more of that is going to overspread the FM area, either a rain or a rain snow or rain sleet mix. And then as cold air gets wrapped into this system, we'll quickly change that over to snow. So anything we have that's on the ground in terms of water is going to quickly freeze. And then we get the blowing snow to go over that. Yeah, it's going to be really bad around here after about 10 o'clock tonight, and as we go throughout the night into tomorrow morning, conditions will continuously just deteriorate. So by the morning rush tomorrow, we're looking at pretty bad conditions around here with near zero visibility, and the snow will be done by tomorrow morning. So it won't be falling, but we're looking at a lot of blowing snow continuing with those wind gusts, again, in excess of 50 miles an hour at times. Expecting about 2 to 4 inches of snow. We were originally thinking 1 to 3, and I still think 1 to 3 is going to be a good bet for the FM area, but we're leaning more towards 2 to 4 right now, with much lesser amounts off to our north and west. Areas between Valley City and Jamestown up towards Grand Forks, probably less than an inch. So as you get close to the valley, we're going to see a little bit more. As you go into Lakes Country, especially just south and southeast of the FM area, some areas there could pick up 4 to 6. And again, you combine that with, 40, 50-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts, it's going to be ugly tomorrow. There's just no way around it.
Okay, well, we're going to keep that in mind. And there's going to be some other things we want to keep in mind today. We'll talk about some things that are happening in headlines. Let's not forget, some of you may be on your way to or have been attending the North Dakota soybean, corn, and soybean and corn expo today up at the Fargo Dome. And we'll maybe recap a few things on that. And we will continue to do all of that right after this.
From ABC News, I'm Derek Dennis. We're learning so much more about last night's mass shooting at Michigan State University. The dead gunman identified as 43-year-old Anthony McCrae. Police say he had no connection to the school, gunning down 3 students, wounding 5 others in 2 campus buildings before taking his own life.
The student union building behind me, where one of those terrifying shootings took place, an average Monday night turned to chaos here on campus. Students fleeing for their lives. Authorities say 5 victims were hospitalized in critical condition. Investigators now working to learn more about this gunman and why he would do this.
ABC's Alex Perez. The campus and the surrounding area locked down for a time. Neighbor Luke Retrespo calling his mom.
She was in shock. She was terrified. You know, it's something that, like, from a parent's standpoint, you know, you never want your kids to call you and say, oh, hey, by the way, the school is under attack. It's getting shot up a block away from me.
Class is canceled for the next 2 days. Overseas, the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, a humanitarian disaster, 37,000 dead, millions homeless.
They had so little and now they have even less. All their belongings out here. You've got 7 or 8 members of one family living in each of these tents. They have fires here trying to keep themselves warm. It's an absolutely desperate situation. And there are children absolutely everywhere you look. UNICEF is saying 4.6 million children are at risk in Turkey and another 2.5 in Syria.
ABC's Marcus Moore, the Pentagon briefing the Senate on the latest unidentified object shot out of U.S. skies.
The American public still has more questions than answers after 3 more high-flying objects were shot down in recent days. Among those questions, what were those objects and did they pose a threat? Now, top military and U.S. intelligence officials are headed to Capitol Hill, where every U.S. senator is invited to hear classified details about the objects. One U.S. official telling ABC News these latest objects shot down are likely weather balloons. Ann Flaherty, ABC News, Washington.
You're listening to ABC News.
I am Kate Gibson, and I hope I don't regret starting a weekly podcast with my father, Charlie Gibson.
Thanks, kiddo. On our new ABC audio podcast, The Bookcase with Kate and Charlie Gibson, we will have conversations with our favorite new and established writers, as well as book lovers and booksellers.
There's nothing more delicious than spoon-feeding yourself every word of a wonderful novel.
New episodes of The Bookcase with Kate and Charlie Gibson are posted every Thursday.
Wait a minute. You mean now I can listen to GMA any time of the day, anywhere?
Yes, that's exactly what we mean with the new Good Morning America podcast. Listen to all of GMA served up daily straight to you. Oh, Michael.
What? I'm listening to our new GMA podcast. It's really good.
Listen to the Good Morning America podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Fairmeadow Nursing Home is a 42-bed skilled nursing facility in Fertile, Minnesota. They pride themselves on the small-town, close-knit, home environment feel it provides its residents. And Fairmeadow Nursing Home is now hiring for the following positions: CNA, LPN, CNA therapy aides, dietary cook, dietary aide, and housekeeping aides. Fairmeadow Nursing Home and Assisted Living is committed to providing seniors a rich, meaningful, and dignified life, focusing on physical, social, spiritual, and emotional needs in order to provide the best life journey possible.
When it's time to build outside the box, build with Thor.
Stan, my mother's coming to stay with us indefinitely.
I need a space for the boys. Where can we watch the big screen, play cards, eat wings, drink, and work?
Stan, there's no room in the garage for my garden tools.
Need more space, whether it's a granny flat, a man cave, a decked out shop condo, or a she shed, or a horse barn. They've gotten creative when it comes to thinking outside the box. Thor Buildings at thorbuildings.com.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thank you for joining us this afternoon on what looks like a quiet afternoon. It's kind of the calm before the storm, if you will, as we've got a pretty big storm system, although it is going to be pretty quick moving. We're looking at kind of a mixed bag of precip. Rain in Lakes Country this afternoon, and that will continue through the evening hours. So if you're worried about any deteriorating conditions for the evening rush, it looks okay, but shortly after that, we're going to see things go downhill pretty quickly as we've got a storm system riding out of Nebraska, and that's going to be moving into southern Minnesota and bringing us initially liquid form, and then we're looking at temperatures falling quickly, and that changes over to snow. About 2 to 4 inches in the FM area, and we are looking at deteriorating conditions with near zero visibility as we head into tonight and into tomorrow.
So, quick question. When is that all going to die down? You're saying that it's tonight into tomorrow. Are we going to see this blow through by like 6 o'clock tomorrow night? I mean, you're talking to somebody who's a little out of town right now, so I thought I better ask for those who maybe haven't seen the weather service update.
Right. Well, it should start to improve by tomorrow afternoon. Now, the winds will lighten up. The snow will be done by tomorrow morning, but the winds will continue to ramp, and that means, well, we're looking at pretty nasty conditions through about 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning before things do start to improve after that. But then, the plows have to get into, especially the open areas, and clear off some of these roads after the snow, after the wind has calmed down a bit. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Improving conditions by tomorrow evening, and then quiet on Thursday and Friday.
Well, and a reminder as always, keep an eye on the highways because you may think they look open. There could be, because things had warmed up a little bit, maybe some snow sticking to them, etc. So just keep an eye out for that, and safety first if we possibly could. That would be great.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do we got in terms of ag here that we're going to talk about? I left my sheet.
Okay,
I left my sheet in the office. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's my turn to quiz, right? Okay. So I want you to think about the fact that the last couple of summers have gotten a little bit drier, right? We had some time frames where things dried out, and some weeds tend to prefer those drier conditions, and they do better at that point in time. One of them is field pennycress. Field pennycress is generally pretty dormant, but what can happen in these situations where it gets a little bit drier, all of a sudden it has just enough moisture for it to start to peak and germinate and show up. So why is pennycress maybe a bad thing? Well, when cattle especially, or sheep, are out on pasture, they're going to eat the things that they like first. It's like when you and I go to a salad bar, we're going to eat our favorite things. Maybe I'm going to eat the tomatoes, but not the diced onions, sort of deal. And then when something is left because that's all that's there in an overgrazed pasture situation, then those animals will start to eat something like a field pennycress. Pennycress actually can cause toxicity in cattle. So for instance, it will upset their stomachs. You didn't think that would happen, right? But it can actually cause an upset stomach. It can cause diarrhea in them, colic, and it can make their milk taste like garlic.
Well, that's no good. I don't know anybody likes garlic milk.
Now, that would be the case if it was a dairy animal. You and I would then have the consumption. But even for a beef animal, if they're out on pasture and that mama cow goes ahead and eats the pennycress, gets the garlic taste, the calf might not like that a lot.
Ooh.
So now your calf isn't getting nourishment the way it should for gaining weight, etc. So field pennycress is actually something we want to help ranchers understand is out there. You can also see it on the edges of tilled fields, and you want to keep that from winding up in your hay, because when it winds up in your hay, it's not desirable. Cattle eat it, and then all of these things happen and follow along. That's really not an awesome thing to have happening, right? You're going to see lower feeding weights in your calves if you have an overly high mix of pennycress. Usually it's not that much, but I think it's just interesting to note that sometimes in these drier conditions, weeds emerge that you weren't expecting, and these are some of the things that it can lead to as well.
Gotcha.
Usually they're not poisonous, by the way, because you can see about 3 to 5% of poisonous plants can affect grazing livestock and can actually be not just slightly toxic, but can be fatal to some animals as well. So you got to be careful what's out in your pastures and so forth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're gonna take a quick time out here to pay some bills. Coming up after our time out here, sound like a kid. We're in time out now.
I was wondering, does that have to do with our guesting? If we're going to time out?
Oh, if he could tell, I'm sure he's got stories to tell. So our guest coming up, Jared Tomich. He's an All-American who used to play for Nebraska. Then he went on to play in the NFL, and now he is. He has his own farm and ranch, and so he's highly into the ag community. So he'll tell us kind of his story, how he went from professional sports into the ag community. All of that coming up on the other side of the break.
What do you call a place in Moorhead that has delicious food made from scratch and drink specials every day of the week? We call it Midtown Tavern, and they have $3 drink specials right now, like Morgan and Malibu Monday, Tequila Tuesday, Wells Wednesday, Tito's Thursday, and Friday talls for the price of a small, including 1919 root beer, plus half-price bottles of wine on Wednesday and $5 bloodies all day long on Sunday. That's Midtown Tavern, Highway 10 East in Moorhead. See Facebook for specials, watch parties, and live music.
When gaming is kept charitable in North Dakota, it's a big win for our communities. Charitable gaming helps with affordable childcare and youth activities. It helps families with expensive medical costs. It creates outdoor opportunities for veterans and people in need. It does all this while helping our economy and easing our taxes. Learn more from the Charitable Gaming Association of North Dakota online at cgand.org and ND Gaming Alliance at ndgamingalliance.com.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage. N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing. But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's A-N-G-I, or download the app today.
Hi, I'm Ashley, owner of the Aspire Optical Company. We think that shopping for a new pair of eyewear should be something you look forward to. A big part of that is our above and beyond customer experience, amazing in-store installations, and the most extensive selection of eyewear in the area. We pride ourselves on doing all those things while providing a laid-back and genuinely fun experience. This month, save 20% off your first pair, 30% off your second pair, and 40% off every pair after that. Aspire Optical, eyewear like you've never seen.
Olivet Lutheran Church in Fargo invites you to join us for Ash Wednesday services February 22nd at noon and 6 p.m. Our Lenten theme for 2023 is No Greater Love. These 40 days of spiritual renewal are a time to reflect on the death of Jesus Christ and prepare us for Easter and His resurrection. You can watch all our services online at olivet.org. Encounter Jesus, experience grace. Olivet Lutheran Church.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with Bridgette Readel. We want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'd like to introduce our guest today. He is an All-American from Nebraska, played in the NFL, and now he's a farmer and rancher out in Indiana. Jared Tomich. But first, Jared, I'm sure you'll recognize this.
You'll get goosebumps.
So, Jared, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
Jared, thank you for joining us. Well, this is just so Dean can relive all of his years of Nebraska, and he doesn't have to listen to me talk about NDSU today.
So, Jared, for those that aren't familiar with you, you were, again, as we said earlier, All-American in Nebraska back in the mid to late 90s. Then you went pro, played for the Saints, and I believe you had 1 year with Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yep. Had a couple of years with the Packers, and you know, had about seven total in. So it was a great time. It was a great experience going to the pros. Nothing like college though. Nebraska was still. Yep. That was still the most fun that I've ever had in playing ball.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, tell people your story. How did you go from being an NFL defenseman and now you're into farming and ranching? How does that happen?
Yeah, so I moved back home after football, which is in Northwest Indiana, and always had that dream to have a little farm, and have just a hobby farm and grew up, riding horses and having different animals, but nothing to the effect that I have now. And we found, it was about 8 years ago, we found a nice little farm and with some acreage down, south of us and in kind of the southern part of what they call Northwest Indiana here. And just, we're able to acquire that. And so we've been just kind of building everything up over the years and and I love it. It is my stress relief. I have more fun doing that. And my boys, I have 2 boys, 12 and 7, and they get involved, and it's just a lot of fun. And we have a little bit of everything. We have about 50 head of cattle, which we mainly raise Scottish Highlands, but then we have quite a few others that we crossbreed with, and then we have some sheep and some goat and some pigs, and we have a blast. We absolutely love it, and it's just it's how I wanted my boys that opportunity to kind of grow up in the farming and just in the farming, small farm like we have.
And Bridgette?
So Jared, I was going to ask, if you've got livestock, do you also have cropland as well, or are you doing hay ground or anything like that to supplement what you're doing with the livestock?
Yeah, we have a little bit of pasture land, but not enough to supplement throughout the year. So I'm buying from local friends just right around us in small squares and round bales, and then some corn stalks to get us through the winter as well. And it's I mean, I'm really still even in my infancy with this, and so I'm learning every year and just having fun with it. And we rotationally graze our pastures that we have with our guys, and that works great. Have just been deep diving into all that, over the, more and more, and just learning, how to manage the land that we have, in addition to, the livestock.
And Jared,
so the Scottish Highlands. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Bridgette. Go ahead.
So the Scottish Highlands, how did you choose that breed? I mean, first of all, they are absolutely the cutest little critter ever, but was there a real preference for them and a real market to bring that Highland in?
When I started kind of researching everything in the beginning, they were just one that stuck out to me. They're very docile. They're a heritage breed, and I started off with a handful of with the Highlands, and then also did some Irish Dexters and some British Whites. So I just kind of stuck in the heritage breeds in the beginning. They're a little bit smaller. They were a little more manageable in the sense that they're not beating up the land quite as much as 50 head of big cattle. And we have some of those too in there, kind of mixed in the bunch. And then the cute factor. I mean, it's like like this morning I went out and we had 2 new babies on the ground, and it's like 2 little teddy bears running around the pasture. So they are great, and the moms are fantastic moms, and so a lot of that just had to do with the ease of the breed in the beginning, and they're super cool. They love to be combed, and they've just it's interesting. They've really gotten popular in the past couple of years.
And Jared, what would you say is the biggest surprise that you've encountered, or maybe the hardest thing that you've encountered while working on your ranch?
Just probably time management. I have probably at any given time 15 to 20 open projects that I'm doing, and just trying to always making it better, always trying to make everything a little more efficient, whether that's with watering, whether that's with pasture, reseeding, and just, there's such a learning curve when you didn't grow up in it and grow up doing it. It's a lot to learn, and there's some hard knocks, kind of, along that way too. But it's so rewarding and so much fun. And now I've had the opportunity to kind of help. We do some freezer beef, but really the majority of like our Highlands, we're selling for starter herds. And we've had starter herds go to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, out to Nebraska, and so with folks doing that. So it's super rewarding to be able to raise them, and then kind of help other folks get going the same thing, on a small scale that we are. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great network.
And how are your boys taking to it? Are they enjoying working? You teaching them, and are they going to follow in your footsteps and maybe expand things once they get older?
If they feel like it, it's a fun way to grow up. They love it. I mean, there's nothing. They think it's the coolest thing because, like my youngest boy now, when he has show and tell, I'll typically bring in a calf or bring in a couple of lambs into school. I've even brought our donkeys in there, before, and so fun stuff like that. They absolutely love it, and it's neat for them to be able to go down there and just experience that. Because it's I think a lot of kids get that less and less nowadays. So it was important for my wife and I to really to have them be able to experience a lot of those good things, and they love it.
So, Jared, as a guy who decided he wanted to go back and buy some farmland and get involved, are you surprised when you saw that there's a pool of NFL players who are now buying productive cropland in places like Iowa, when you have Joe Burrows who wants to buy in? Are you surprised at that, or do you think that's a trend that's going to continue as more folks want to return to that part of their life, being part of the land?
I hope it continues. No, and I'm not too surprised. It's super neat to see. And, especially, you get folks that are going to be good stewards, to the land, and it's and investment wise, it's a great investment. And depending on what you want to do, and whether it's, row cropping or pasturing, it's a great idea. It's a great investment. I can remember when I first got to the NFL, I looked at property in Nebraska, and back then, and I just didn't pull the trigger. And then when you get you look back 10 years and you look and you go, wow, that would have been an incredible investment if I would have pushed things that way. And everything's hindsight is always, but yeah, I think it's a great thing for guys, for athletes and anybody really, but to get into portions of property and land and go that direction.
And Jared, did you find it, what was the most difficult thing transition-wise going from being a pro athlete to starting up basically a farm and ranch from, as you said, at scratch? What was the most difficult part of that?
Maybe that there's no cheering section out there for me. It's just a matter, it's all if you're doing individually by yourself. And so it's a, it's you're learning, there's nobody, not, and I didn't have, I've got some really good farmer friends in the area that I've made, but a lot of it is just, trial and error, and kind of just taking the, learning as you go. So it's, and there's great books out there. There's a ton of information on YouTube. Some can be great, some can be not so great. So you got to take it all in and then figure out what works good farm or your land, because what's good for, folks down south isn't good for me, and kind of, vice versa. So it's just, absorbing it all like a sponge, and then just, trying different things and applying it.
All right. Well, if you have any questions for Jared, feel free to give us a call, 701-293-9000. That's 701-293-9000. Or you can email us, weather@flagfamily.com. We're going to take a short recess here. When we come back, we're going to talk more with Jared about, well, he also does more things with ag in terms of his own business. We'll have more on that when we come back.
Business has storage, but not nearly enough. You need Dakota Storage Products. They'll utilize the space you already have. They're the experts in loading docks, pallet racks, cabinets, bins, and warehouse ladders, even industrial shelving for bankers' boxes and your year-end files. They've helped businesses and farmers in the region make storage space smart by helping your storage space fit your needs. Go to DakotaStorageProducts.com. Dakota Storage Products, helping you store stuff smart.
You've got advanced prostate cancer, but you're not waiting around. You want straight talk, the facts about Orgovix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer. Fact: Orgovix is a different kind of androgen deprivation therapy treatment, a pill, not an injection. Orgovix may cause serious side effects, including a heart condition called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor right away if you feel dizzy, faint, have a racing or pounding heart, or chest pain. Orgovix can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during treatment and for 2 weeks after Orgovix treatment. The most common side effects include hot flushes, increased blood sugar and blood fat levels, muscle and joint pain, decreased blood hemoglobin levels, increased liver enzymes, tiredness, constipation, and diarrhea. Other side effects include weight gain, decreased sex drive, and erectile function problems. Orgovyx may cause infertility. Talk to your doctor if infertility is a concern for you.
Go with Orgovyx. Ask your doctor. For more facts, visit gowiththefacts.com.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or are experiencing pain or numbness in your feet, pick up the phone and call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7545. Again, that's 701-929-7545. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. Eventually, it leads to balance problems, falls, complete loss of independence, and it can lead to amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start experiencing relief from neuropathy symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone right now and call 701-929-7545. Call us today at Dakota Clinic of Chiropractic at 701-929-7545 today.
Oil and natural gas help provide the things our counties and communities need. Taxes paid by the oil and natural gas industry fund schools, roads, and flood protection across North Dakota. That means we can run our farms and businesses and educate leaders for our future. It's one of the many ways oil and natural gas are making life better in North Dakota for generations. North Dakota's oil and natural gas, advancing the possibilities.
Do you love working on cars but don't love your current job? If so, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Matthew Carlson, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. We're a family-owned full-service auto repair shop looking to hire skilled automotive technicians. With our state-of-the-art shops, great work environment with competitive pay and benefits, you'll enjoy a great job with a bigger purpose and a lot of opportunity for advancement. Visit FixItForwardAutoCare.com to apply. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. And today we have an interview with Jared Tomich. Jared played football at Nebraska, but then went on to play in the NFL for the Saints and the Packers. Now, tell me if I get any of these stats wrong. 56 tackles, 10 sacks. You were a round 2 pick in the draft. Which is easier, throwing sheep or tossing around other NFL players?
I'm more sore sometimes when I'm out in the pasture than when I was, playing ball years ago. So for sure, that is for sure. There's days I wake up going, oh yeah, this might not be for me.
Yeah, nobody ever said, even though they're cute, sometimes they push back a little bit. They, whether it's sheep or little tiny calves, they can get you good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and trying to move them sometimes when they don't want to be moved, and yes.
And Jared, can you see? Yeah, can you see us on video, Jared?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the camera pointing at one of our producers, Ronnie. He is a diehard Husker fan, and I don't know if you can see him there. He's got. I
see that jacket.
He's got the Husker. He's had that since high school, and I brought him down to Nebraska for the UND game from this last year, and was lucky enough. I know some people that work there, and we brought him on the field for the first time. He's always been a Husker fan, and he just got the chills, and he said, "This is unbelievable." So,
greatest fans in the world,
aren't they? No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
It's a good day.
Yeah, and Jared, so you have your own business as well, where you kind of tie that in with the ag community. Not only do you ranch, but you have another business that you tie in with the ag community. Explain to us what that's all about.
Sure. So Mixed Design is my wife's, she created about 20 years ago. It's a branding and design company that we specialize in experience and creating, telling the story of ag from the company or the farmer to the public. She kind of took the step to more agricultural about 8-9 years ago, and a great portion of what we do now is in the ag world. We have clients, all the way from Texas to Wisconsin, whether that be state fairs or farm bureaus or different corporations that we work with, and it's fun. It's never the same day twice. My lovely wife is standing here next to me, and can you might come over for a second. Say hi. Say hi to everybody.
Is she coaching you right now, Jared? She gets to coach you for a change?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I need it when it comes to this, so absolutely.
It's actually a good compliment. A lot of my team building stuff comes from his knowledge from the football field, and a lot of his agriculture experiments, I'll call them, come from play into some of the things that I talk to when we're representing agriculture, like big scale and then hobby farm.
Okay, so Mrs. Tomich, lovely wife in the background, do you have a farm background as well, or a little bit of that, or is this all kind of developed as you guys got more involved with the cattle and so forth?
Yeah, no, and
I said, do you have a farm background?
No, yeah, gardening background, but not farm. No, she didn't grow up in farming at all.
No, we actually, my branding company for the first 10 years was really focused on food, the food service industry, and a lot of retail and such. And now we, about 6-8 years ago, we did a project for a large group that put on a dairy facility, Fair Oaks Farms, and from there we started meeting people in the pork industry and the dairy industry all around the country, and realized that farmers could do a better job telling their story, and some of them are on a grand scale and some of them are on a smaller scale, and so we kind of have found really great clients on all those spectrums. And
do you want to talk about
they find delight in our antics, as we've learned most of our stuff on YouTube.
Well, do you want to talk a little about Fair Oaks Farms? Because they have, and it just so happens I'm actually sitting in Indiana right now, but they have a great story. And it's just fabulous, all the things with Fair Oaks. So yeah, I'm actually in Indianapolis, but please talk about them if you would.
Well, Fair Oaks Farms is an agritourism destination. About 8 or 10 years ago, we helped them develop their pig and pork education experience, and we also did their dairy adventure. They have done a fantastic job of showing the consumer the behind-the-scenes process of a real working production facility. So you go to that farm, and some people might have, more of a typical traditional farm experience. Hope, but when you get there, then you learn the real typical farm and agriculture high-end production facility has to do things a little bit differently to give us the consistency and the quality that we expect every day when we're at the grocery store. So they did a phenomenal job of having both. You kind of go through their experience, you learn some of the educational things, and then you get on a bus and you go see behind the scenes. They spent a lot of money, probably double what a normal production facility has spent, to allow you to look down on their whole facility from above.
And do you feel that people are more aware of how farming works now, how ranching works now, than it was, let's say, 15 years ago, in terms of educating the public?
They do, but we have quite a variety of clients. It's fun that you're sitting in Indianapolis. We're going to help tell the story of Indiana pork at their new swine production facility they're building at the State Fair. But I think, from our State Fair clients all the way down to our county fair people that are telling a story, a lot of them have the same questions about sustainability and consistency and quality and animal care. And so I think although people are more aware, they want to see for themselves and kind of trust the process a little bit more. And so for each person, it's sort of a different set of questions, but the consistency of seeing it in different places will build that trust with farming, with industry. And, you know, the only way to do it any different would be for everyone to start farming again on their own. So we're trying to do that, you know, with just our beef.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's unrealistic. So there's there's really a place for all different types of farms, and I think that the more people see those messages in the more places, the more they can build their own answers. You know, you have to. That's food is a trust process.
And if you have any questions for Jared and his wife, give us a call, 701-293-9000, 701-293-9000, or you can email us at weather@flagfamily.com.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared, I notice on your Facebook you often will post pictures and beautiful pictures this morning, obviously, of new calves being born. And you often post pictures of wildlife coming onto your property. Your dogs are just sitting there, doesn't bother them. And do you ever have trouble with the wildlife coming on and maybe spooking some of the animals at all?
No, and you know, we've got a set of dogs that are just fantastic. You know, Great Pyrenees mixes that really, you know, their job is to keep the farm safe, and they do an incredible job with that. As far as for predators go, we had the opportunity with some orphaned baby deer in the spring that were kind of it's funny, you get a farm and then people start dropping animals off. Or calling you for certain things. And so these two baby deer we had gotten, they were a day or two old. And then
Two different people, by the way.
Yeah, two different
We're
people.
like, where do we take this deer? Let's take it to. We have a couple local cities that have done the same thing with chickens. They run away chickens, and they're like, call the Tomiches. They'll take them.
Right. So we bottle fed those baby deer, and it's Charlie and Lily, and they're wonderful. They come and go as they please, and walk around and hang out and play with the dogs, and it's been a treat. You know, we know that those are wild animals, and they're going to get that call to go to the wild here probably pretty soon, being that they're about a year old now, and hopefully we'll get a chance to see them here and there. But no, it's those experiences that we've had the opportunity out there that's just incredible, and super fulfilling.
And to answer your question,
Now,
the dogs aren't by them.
That's good.
That's good. Now, a question that everybody's going to ask, no matter the size of your farm: what color is your farm equipment? Is this more of a John Deere family, more Case? Are we driving Kubotas? What do you got over there?
You know what? I am working with tractors and things that are much older than myself. I've got a 19.
You should probably ask him more about his wish list.
Yeah. My wish list is growing. But I've got a 1953 Ford tractor that works every day, and then I've got a 1974 John Deere utility tractor that works about every day type thing. And yes, I wanted to get a good feel for what I needed before we dive into any of that stuff, because
he's researching.
those expenses when it comes to tractors and things like that are I mean, it's a big deal. That's so for our place we don't need large equipment, but yeah, that there's a skid steer. I think a Kubota skid steer would be first on my list for helping out on the farm.
Awesome.
Good question, though.
Yeah. And Jared, if anybody's interested in getting in touch with you or your wife about your business and how you might be able to help them, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to mixdesign.com. It's MIX design, and you can email the info@mixdesign.com goes right to me. So we actually have a team of about 20 people, and we do a lot of digital gaming, programming, technology, design build, the brand part, storytelling, and then we also help with matching up partners. We've helped places like Fair Oaks pitch to John Deere and build partnerships. We're doing the creamery out in Beaver, Utah, Indiana State Fair. We help them with all their corporate and client, really working not just to have a sponsor, but have these different companies help tell the story from their expertise. So that's kind of cool too.
Great. And before we go, Jared, how often do you get back for a Nebraska game?
We try to, especially with the boys at their ages, we try to get back once a year. I know we'll make it back this year for a game, and I know last year we did not, but we usually try to get back there.
We've been in our yard a lot in Illinois and Purdue and stuff like that. So we go there too.
Yeah, being in the Big Ten is pretty neat because we get the opportunity to go to these away games and see them play, and so we always go make the Purdue game because that's only 45 minutes from us, and the Illinois game and things like that. So it's really pretty neat for us to be able to catch a bunch of games.
Purdue should be there this year, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think Purdue is at home this year. So, maybe we'll come out for that one.
I think we're going to road trip it. Our wonderful diehard Husker fan, Ronnie, we're going to road trip it down, hopefully, for the Michigan game. Going to take the trip down 29. So let's keep in touch, and hopefully we can meet up in Nebraska for a game and maybe have a beer.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
Okay, Dean is only asking so that if you're not there, he can use your seats. I just want you to know that. That's the only reason he cares.
Jared would like a barbecue for all of you. He's a big barbecuer, so his tailgate.
I follow him on Facebook, and every time I see pictures of, oh man, it's just mouth-watering for sure.
It looks.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. We appreciate your time. And when we come back, we'll hit more on the blizzard warning that is going to go into effect later tonight. Yeah, more snow and wind in the forecast. We'll have more on that coming up after the break.
Hi, this is Kayla with Sanctuary and Riverhaven Event Centers, and I'm here to tell you why I chose 702 Communications for all of our managed services, phone, internet, and security cameras. At our event center, we have hundreds of people coming into our business weekly, and it's so important for us to have cameras that we can rely on. We reached out to 702 so that they could give us a quote for installing brand new cameras in all areas of our building, and now we have 26 cameras so that we know every part of our building is under surveillance and we're secure. We've had cameras in our business for a while, but we reached out to 702 because we were having issues. A lot of them weren't working all the time. So 702 was able to come in, give us a solution, fix everything, install all brand new cameras, and now we know we've got better audio, better quality, and we have an app that we use that has full surveillance 24 hours a day for us to pull up and know exactly what's going on. As a business owner, that peace of mind is invaluable.
If you want more peace of mind for your business that's invaluable, call 702 Communications right now at 218-250-8700. Again, 218-250-8700. Call now because peace of mind is priceless.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Are you over the age of 60 and been diagnosed with lung cancer? If so, you and your family may qualify for a cash award. Our experienced attorneys are standing by to evaluate whether you have a lung cancer claim that qualifies you for a cash award. The consultation is absolutely free, and there is no risk and no money out of pocket. We only receive a fee when we secure you and your family a settlement. 250,000 people are diagnosed with lung cancer every year. You're not alone in this battle. We can help make sure that you and your family are financially safe and that medical expenses are covered. Again, if you've been diagnosed with lung cancer and are over age 60, call now. Don't delay. There are deadlines for filing claims. We're standing by 24/7. Call us at 1-844-903-1744. 1-844-903-1744. That's 1-844-903-1744. Attorney advertising. William Steppacker Jr. is the attorney responsible for this ad. Main office, Scranton, Pennsylvania. May not be available in all states.
Markets finished mixed on Valentine's Day Tuesday. You're listening to the American Ag Network of Jesse Allen with this closing market update. As we take a look at the market trade after Tuesday's session, we saw that the outside markets reacting to the consumer price index data that came out on Tuesday morning, the CPI data, 0.5% higher month on month in January, with the headline number at 6.4% year on year. As we saw the stock market trade a little bit back and forth across the day on Tuesday. Meantime, commodities traded mostly mixed on the day to lower. We gave up our early gains across corn, beans, and wheat and trended to the downside here. We continue to watch South American weather as well as the harvest in Brazil. as is reported on Tuesday that it appears that Brazil is now 23% harvested on beans, with major producing state Mato Grosso approaching 50% harvested. Livestock trade, cattle a little bit lower, with the hog trade mostly higher except front month February on Tuesday. Corn for March down 2 3/4, 682 1/4. New crop December corn, that was up a quarter penny, 597. March beans down 5 3/4, 1537. November beans down 2 1/4, 1382 1/2. March bean meal down $3 a ton, 501 even. March bean oil up 26 points, 60.40. March Chicago wheat 6 lower, 786. July down 3, 799 1/2. March Kansas City wheat down 6 1/4 at 906. Spring wheat March, that was down 1 1/2, 929 1/4. July down 3, 914 1/4. February live cattle down 12, 162.15. April down 42, 164.67. Feeder cattle for March down 55, 186.65. April down 70, 190.90. February hogs expired down 15, 75.67. April hogs up 90 at 87.25 on Tuesday. That's a look at the closing markets. You're listening to the American Ag Network. I'm Jesse Allen.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon on what is the calm before the storm. And Bridgette, I'll tell you what, we haven't really, outside of December before Christmas, we haven't had really much in the way of really bad weather. I mean, it's pretty much been what I call an easy winter.
Well,
I mean,
we had some days, though, that we've had plenty of ground drifting, right? There were days where the roads were not awesome. We had a heavy amount of fog right around the new year. That was a big deal for a lot of folks. So you're right. When it comes to those big snowfalls, it's probably tapered off a little bit, but you've told me all along, especially according to the LRC, that wouldn't be the case until spring. Things would change.
That is correct. And we had an emailer email asking, Dean, is this the same pattern that was over us right before Christmas? And oddly enough, it does have a correlation with that. From October to before Christmas to now, if you time those out, it's 50-day cycle. So the same pattern in October and right before Christmas in December to now is 50 days apart. So as we said, using the LRC, we're entering that stormy part of the LRC, which will last through the end of the month. So about a 2-week period, roughly. Now this will be back in another 50 days. Let's extrapolate that out. That puts us into the first week of April. And we usually these storms get a little more invigorated because you've got the clash between warmer air and colder air. This is more like a spring-like storm that's coming up our way now. So if you think it's invigorated now, when this comes back on the 4th cycle in April, again, we're probably going to have severe weather with this on its warm side, which we are now in the southern states, but that'll be a little closer to home, probably into areas of Minnesota and Iowa, while a blizzard will happen on the backside of this. So mark your calendars. We'll give you the heads up in the northern plains. A blizzard is probably likely, again, that 1st or 2nd week in April. So something to keep an eye on.
We don't know where the storm track is.
Right. We
don't have a snowfall estimate.
Exactly.
And we'll have to see where that lies. This could have a lot more to do with the wind than it can with, getting 18 inches of snow.
Yeah. But again, this is something, the LRC is a tool that we use long term to give heads up to weather sensitive clients or community, like for the ag community. Okay, if you're a rancher and you've got calving season those first 2 weeks in April, all right, I'm going to prepare for something in our area, in the Dakotas into Minnesota, that, that first 2 weeks in April, we're going to get hit more than likely up here as the system recycles itself back around. So and
not just calving. We've got a lot of producers who are lambing as well.
Right.
So, you've got plenty of livestock to be thinking about in this time frame. And then the questions are going to start to come in. If we do get a heavier snowfall total, could this lead to flooding? Could this delay our planting season?
Correct.
A lot of those questions we are going to talk about and answer when we get to our spring weather special on March 7th. So make sure you tune in for the afternoon so you get to hear all of those insights with you, myself, Justin Storm, and the gentleman who created the LRC, Gary Lezak.
Yeah, he will be on with us. In fact, he emailed me some of the graphics that he's putting out to his paid clients right now, and we'll use those on air and show you those on our special on March 7th, and it goes month by month. How much rain we're expecting for our ag community? Is it going to be? Will there be a late freeze this year? Now, my quick question to you, Bridgette. Okay, so let's say we get out and we can start planting on time. What if we get a late freeze? And by late, early May. What
tell me how
cold?
Me how cold it's going to be that night and for how many hours. And I can tell you, and then depending on what we planted, first of all, wheat's always going to be much more tolerant. Corn will depend on how far out of the ground it is. If its growing point is up far enough that it would be affected. Soybeans, depends how big they are. Usually at that time of the year, our soybeans probably, some are still being planted, so the soybeans would be least affected. But if you have soybeans with some growth to them, they can get dinged up pretty well. Okay, and we'll kind of go more on that as on our LRC special on March 7th, and kind of give more of a detailed forecast for late freeze and what does it look like for planting and all that. Absolutely. So let's quick run down the forecast. Again, a blizzard warning is in effect for tonight into tomorrow morning. We're expecting rain to overspread the area in Lakes Country, kind of a rain-snow mix here in the valley, and that will quickly change to snow after dark. And we're going to see the winds pick up. The winds really ramp up after about 10 o'clock tonight, 30 to 45 after midnight, gusting over 50. Some areas could approach 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. The snow will continue through about 3 in the morning. That'll be the worst part of it with the wind. About 2 to 4 inches here in the FM area, much less to our north and west, and maybe a little bit more to our south and east. But the winds will stay strong for your morning commute. So we're looking at near zero visibility tomorrow morning before conditions do improve by tomorrow evening, and then quiet weather to round out the week. So travel probably not recommended for tomorrow morning and later tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. For Bridgette and myself, we'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
DAY AM and